Hello everyone and welcome to another amazing video of African Tech Gurus. This is your #1 channel where we learn technology and coding by actually doing it and explaining each and every single step and each and every concept. So if you are new to this channel, welcome. Please do us a big favor and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell button so that each and every single time we upload a new video, you are immediately notified. A big thank you to our returning subscribers and our returning viewers. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting on our videos because it helps us offer better services and offer better content for us to all learn and for all of us to become better African tech gurus. So today, I want us to look at debugging and the quizzes that have been provided. On the previous video, we actually went through the content review of what debugging is, what are the different methods that you can use, and actually looked at an example of how we can fix errors and how we can identify them in our code. So today, we are going to do the quizzes. I have actually done them one by one, but I want to explain what I have done and my logical process behind it. So the very first question is, we have been given a piece of incorrect code and we have been told to identify what is causing the error. And in this case, we have the main function, which is the int main. The other thing is we have two variables which have been declared, which is I and j, and we have a for loop, which will have the control statement for I and the increment for it, and it has also been initialized. But if you notice, we have j, which has just been initialized, but it hasn't been given a control statement and it hasn't been given an increment or an update statement. So what this code is doing is, while j is less than 10, it should print the value of j, and after that it will print a new line and it will finish and exit the actual program. So the first error that you can see here is that j has not been incremented. So at the end of the day, it will always remain to be 0. So that is the first error that you can see. J never increments, so it will always print 0. The other error is that j has been set and will always be less than 10. So because j has been set to 0, 1, it will always print 0, and 2, it will always be less than 10. So that is what we have noticed are the first two errors. Now we can move to the next question, which is question 1, and they've given us some piece of code. So what this does is that it should print hello world, which is what I have highlighted there. And in the main function, this is the main where the program starts, we have a variable called hello, which is a character pointer variable that has been declared and initialized. So here is where we have declared it, and initializing it, we have initialized like this. So it will be initialized to point to this string called hello world. And then the next thing is we have an integer variable I that has been declared in a for loop. It has been declared in a for loop and it will be used as a counter for the for loop. So it has been declared and initialized to 0. And then we have now this for loop that has been used and is going to be used to iterate through the characters in the string pointed to by hello. And the hello that we're looking at is this pointer. So this pointer points to this character called hello world. And the loop will continue until all the null characters have been encountered. So it will iterate through this string until it encounters the null character. And once it encounters this null character, it will now mark and know that this is the end of the string. And then at the end of it, inside now the loop, the printf function, which is this, will actually print each character of the string that it has encountered. So finally, a new line character is going to be printed at the end of it, and it's going to use the printf to move the output to the next line. and after that the program will return 0 to indicate that it has been a successful execution of the program. So at the end of the day, we can also check the error that has been given once GCC was run here, and it's pointing out to line 11. Line 11, if you count the lines, it will be this specific one that they have highlighted here. That is line 11, and it is saying error I has been undeclared. So this is the first use in the function, and what they're saying is we don't know what this I is. This is the first time we're seeing it, so that is what we mean when we say it has been undeclared. Another error that they have given us is this one that we're seeing here, where they are pointing out to error in line 9, and they're saying that the variable hello is set but not used. So that is still okay, but the question is, in this file, on what line is the first error that the compiler returns? So the compiler will return the errors in the order in which it has encountered them, and the very first line that you can see the error coming from, we can get it from here, is in main.c, line 11, there is an error. So it is line 11. So 11 is our answer in this case. So now we can move to our next question, which is question 2, and we've been given some code and it is giving some error. So we have the standard library that has been imported. We do have the comment section. We have the main function, which is the start of the program, and we have some variables I, j, and k that have been declared here. The next thing is we have initialized I and j. I will be 0 and j has been set to 1000, and we have a while statement which checks whether I is less than j. And then the next thing that happens is that we now initialize k, and k has been initialized to whatever value j is. It is then divided by 98, and after that I is updated, and the value that k got will now be updated, and I will be I, which is 0 plus whatever value was gotten from the division of j and 98, and after that we print I. The next thing that happens is we have j is equal to j minus 1. So this is where the error is, and in this case this is a logical error because this is not the intended function. So what is happening here with this logical error in this code is that it will prevent the loop from terminating, and specifically this statement will not it will prevent the program because it does not actually update the value j, because if you were to update it we will use a single equals to operator, but here we are comparing, and we are comparing because we are using two equal sign operators which are equivalent to the comparison operator. So the specific error that we are getting is this. It is pointing to line 20, and it is saying that the statement with no effect, and it is pointing to that specific line. So if we were to look at the options that they have given us, the best is that we want to assign j a new value, which is what the program is intended to do, but it has compared, so we don't want to compare it. So it should be j is equal which is an assignment operator, j minus 1, instead of it being j is equal to j minus 1. So I hope you got the difference between these two. So I hope now we can move to the next question, which is question 3. So in this question we have been given some code, and as normal we do have the main.h, which is a library, and this one is a user-defined library. We have the comments, and we now have the main function which will start the program, and here we are declaring an integer I, and we're using a for loop, and we are initializing I to 0, so that is where I will start. We have a control statement which will check if I is less than 100, and once it checks it updates it. And the next thing we need to do is we want to print all the even numbers, so we check if I, which is the value that we are looking at, if this I is divided by 2, then if the remainder is not equal to 0, then it continues. So here is where the logical error is in this code, and it will prevent this program from printing any even numbers. How will it do this? It will do this because the current value of I will be set to odd, because here we are checking that the remainder is not equal to 0. So that means it will give us 1 or a different value, and that different value will mean that it has this specific number that we are checking is odd and not even. So at the end of the day, the continue statement is being used, and when the current value of I is odd, it will not give the correct output. So this causes the loop, which we're now using, which is the if statement. It will cause the loop to skip over all odd numbers. But since in this case the break statement is located inside the if statement, the program will never be reached. So at the end of the day, we will never reach a point where we are able to display or produce an even number. So here we do have our logical errors, and at the end of the day, logical errors are the most difficult to pick and to actually identify, because they do give us output, or sometimes they don't, but if they do give us output, it is not the intended output. So in the next step, we have added a printf statement to the code. And what information does the printf statement tell us about how the code is going to execute? So in this question, they want to know, if we do introduce a printf statement and it runs, what does that tell us? So a printf statement will show when the for loop is finished. And the other thing is, it will show that the break will cause a for loop exited to print, indicating that even number is never printed. So the very first thing that it will do is it will print this. I is not an even number, so do not print. So it will print this because that has been met, and that will help us see that this is not an even number. And then the next thing that it will do is it will print this for loop has been exited, which will help us know that it has exited the for loop, which is what we wanted to do. And since it gave us that I is not an even number, we will get to know that it has exited with the wrong output. So at the end of the day, these are the two main solutions to this quiz, and I hope you've been able to understand this quiz and how to debug and understand the different errors, and most specifically how to identify logical errors, because they are the most difficult to identify. If you have liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, share it with your colleagues, so that we all learn and become better tech gurus for Africa. And if today's video was an interesting one, please make sure you subscribe. It supports our channel and it helps us offer better services to you. Thank you for watching today's video. Until next time, happy coding.